Sometimes in life, it's probably good to not ask why. Sometimes you just don't need a reason. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Some of you are probably think I've lost my mind. Some of you may be right. But today, like it or not, we are shooting this wonderful shotgun. This is a Komrad, which started out life as a firearm, a smoothbore firearm. And Chad and I decided to kind of kick it up a notch. And that's what we did. We'll talk about it a little bit. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute for supporting our videos. If you are looking for a career in gunsmithing technology, they are your go-to people. They've got some wonderful gunsmithing programs, reloading programs, all distance learning. Their curriculum, their instructors are second to none, really great people. Check them out. They got a lot of great financial incentives. Join up with them. You will not regret it. Sonoran Desert Institute, SDI, and tell them we sent you. And again, a huge thanks to them for supporting our efforts here. And we had to break out some files and do a little bit of crazy redneckery, but really this was not very difficult to put together. This is just my old Go gun break off of my old Sega 12. This is a 10.5-inch barrel or a 10-inch, I think somewhere in that ballpark. I want to say it's like a 10.5-inch barrel that comes standard on the Komrad. These are from Kalashnikov USA. We did SBS this particular one. We've got a folding stock mechanism, which that's really nice. Keep it nice and compact. Normally on a setup like this, I would opt for running the RS Regulate scope mount. I wasn't able to procure one of those scope mounts in time for this video. So I went on Carolina Shooter Supply and I ordered a couple of basic parts that I've been using on these things for years. You know, Ray and I at Moss have done a ton of Sega conversions. So this was actually pretty painless because, you know, Kalashnikov USA already did most of the heavy lifting in terms of getting this thing set up the way we wanted. We pulled the brace off and put a proper folding stock on there. I opted for the Magpul AK grip. The safeties on these are notched to hold the bolt to the rear. It's kind of a crude way of doing it, but it does work. Now these don't have the bolt latch on them that the original RAA Sega 12s from Russia had on them, but they do have the notch to hold the bolt to the rear. We opted for this little basic scope mount that just drops on here. It replaces the rear sight. You just pound out the old rear sight, put this one in. There's a couple of pins that you rock set in place that just hold it and you level it out. And we dropped one of our Steiner red dot sights on here. It's a MRS, kind of small ruggedized red dot sight that we put on there just for fun. This is the standard 4N that comes stock on the Komrad with the rail sections. We dropped an RFG on here from Magpul. Again, we already talked about our Go gun muzzle device. Now the gas system, one of the weak points on these shotguns, and what's always been a weak point on many of the S12 variants, including the Komrad, we do have a full-size Kalashnikov USA KS12 as well as like the Komrad, this particular setup. The ports on all these guns are fantastic. All the Kalashnikov guns are much better set up than the original Russian counterparts as they came into the country. I do feel like they can merit from a little bit of an upgrade on the gas system though. So what I opted for is the, I believe it's the same people, the Go Gun USA that makes this muzzle device. They also make a race piston. It's like a super smooth performance piston puck that goes in here. It's kind of a strange system, but it uses like a tappet system, and that plug is a replacement plug, and it's much better. And also this 6-position gas system, which allows me much better control over adjusting the gas just right. I can open up the gas on this gun, and with the ports that are in it, I can run birdshot. I can run maybe not the 7/8 ounce light loads, maybe not so much on that, but any decent power load, it will run it just fine. That was Remington Express long range ammunition. So that was a 1 1/4 ounce, 7.5 shot moving at 1330. So that's a stout birdshot load. And you saw the amount of ass that we have behind it there. I mean, that definitely did the job. So we're gonna up the ante and get into some buckshot, and then we're gonna get into some slugs. Now, unfortunately, these magazines are no longer produced, but AGP Arms back in the day used to make a clear Sega 12 mag. This one's on its last legs. You can see that it's being held together with grip tape. We're going to see if it works though. And I mean, who doesn't like a clear Sega mag? How cool is that? I mean, look, we'll put this in there. Look at that. I mean, that's cool. Now, I messaged AGP about these and I was like, hey, are you guys ever going to offer the clear mags again? And they said for the time being, definitely that they're not. And I think the issue was that they had some problems with these mags being a little bit brittle because of, you know, the clear mags have to be, you know, they're a little bit picky because of the clear nature of the material. I think they had some issues with them not holding up so well. But we're going to try to run it. We've got some 12 pellet double-aught buckshot from Nobles. This is some Italian buckshot ammo. It's moving at 1290, so a little bit slower than the birdshot ammo. But our weight on this is probably pretty similar. So we'll give it a try. All right, 12 pellets of buckshot. And we've got some other fleshy targets out here I think that we might have to launch some slugs at. Now the accuracy on this is a smooth bore. It's a shotgun now. It was a firearm before. But this is just a smooth bore, cylinder bore. There's, you know, I wanted to get one of the poly chokes to put on this thing. There's a company that makes this thing called a poly choke that works on the Sega 12, and you screw it in and you have an adjustable choke, which is kind of cool. So if you're trying to wring some extra accuracy out of a short barrel, you can do that. Unfortunately, the poly chokes were not in stock, and I opted to just grab my old break off of my Sega 12 and put on here. But you can get chokes for these, and they are very effective. The poly choke is probably the best choke for an S12 you could possibly ever get. They're never in stock, but if you can find them, get one. They're fantastic. They work great. Other than that, and some gold spray paint, it's pretty much a Komrad, but just set up a little bit more Vladimir style, if you will, okay? So let me put my ears on. We're definitely gonna need Mr. Ears here, because this thing is obnoxiously loud. All right, 12 pellet buckshot. Hopefully my mag doesn't break or anything. This little clear mag's on its last legs. We're gonna give it a try though, okay? Yeehaw. I did put one of those blue buffers in this thing too to help keep the gun from getting pounded to heck and back. We had a failure to feed there. Hopefully that's not gonna be a reoccurring theme. Woo! I might have the gas turned up a little bit too high on this thing. Woo! Yeehaw! Yeah, there's a couple of little cracks on this mag. We may not be running this mag too much more, but that's something I pulled out of the archives there just because, I mean, come on, if we're going bougie, we might as well have the clear mag, you know? Okay, now the moment of truth. I want to see how well these slugs run. We've got some Bernicke anti-terror slugs, okay? These are 1 ounce slugs moving 1680, and that is yielding 2,639 foot-pounds of energy. And on the box, it shows them shooting through metal, and I mean, anything with anti-terror in it. Gosh, that sounds to me like that's worth the price of admission, wouldn't you say, boys and girls? So we're gonna give these slugs a try. Now, these magazines that we were running, these are from SGM Tactical. You guys might recall the meltdown video we did on the Glock. The guys at SGM sent us a whole crap ton of magazines for that Glock meltdown. And I remember talking to them and they were like, well, we hope they work, because if they don't, we're gonna be screwed. And it turns out they ran fantastically. We had no issues. And SGM also makes mags for the Sega 12. They also make mags for the Vepr. One thing I wanna mention as well, the cool thing about these magazines, and some people don't know this, it should be obvious by looking at it, but if you don't know this, sometimes you don't ever see like an 8 or a 10 shot mag in stock. They might have 12 shots or 5 shots. Well, what if I want to make this an 8 shot? All I have to do is pull this base plate off, cut it off where that ridge is, and I can move the base plate and just reduce the capacity as needed. That's just kind of a cool feature. I do like the SGMs. They tend to hold up pretty good. So we're gonna give this a try. We've got 10 rounds of the anti-terror slugs. I find that having the bolt lock to the rear is much easier for inserting the magazine. You do have to rock the mag in, just like such. Look at that. Whew. I mean, all you need is a bottle of vodka and an Adidas tracksuit, and you're in there. Now, I have not checked the gas system on these slugs. We're just gonna see on the current settings how they work. I think I might have had the gas turned up a little bit high for those buckshot rounds that were maybe pushing back a little hard, but you know what? Life is gonna go on. We got some fleshy targets. We got a obnoxious looking shotgun full of obnoxious slugs and nothing stopping us. So we're just gonna give it a try. Oh boy, I'm gonna go for the gusto, Chad. I'm gonna shoot the freaking watermelon. All right. Oh, my sight cut off on me. All right. Oh man, dude, could you imagine, if you will, I don't know if you can imagine it. Picture you're a fly on the wall, minding your own business, and somebody pulls up and tries to break in somebody's house or something. And some crazy dude breaks this gold monstrosity out and goes to work. I mean, imagine the last thing that you ever see is a person with a gold Sega, a gold AK shotgun, and an Adidas tracksuit going, oh, you done messed up now. I mean, holy crap. Those slugs were epic. I feel like we need to shoot more of those. We brought them. We don't want to take them back. Let's try some more of those slugs. You know, and here's the thing about the S12 pattern of shotguns. The Komrad is not necessarily any different because, you know, for those of you that don't know, this gun is basically an S12. Like, it has parts compatibility and interchangeability, magazine interchangeability. I mean, this thing essentially is an S12. And, you know, we can't get imports from Russia anymore on the Russian-American Armory, and I think there was a few other people bringing in the Sega 12. But I think the company was Russian-American Armory, as I remember correctly. And, you know, and there was a time when you could buy those things for 250 bucks. Now, hindsight being what it is, I wish I would have bought freaking 10 of them for that. But we don't always know, do we? But the cool thing about the Komrad and also the full-length, you know, Segas that they're bringing in. I know I called it a Sega. That's not their official model name. But the fact that Kalashnikov USA is making these guns available and they're still out there, and this is one of those kind of, I don't want to say it's like this weird NFA nut kick territory, but the smoothbore firearm thing, it's just, they're not really looking at it in any kind of weird way. They're not making a big deal about it. And, you know, it's kind of cool to be able to buy this as a firearm. And if you do want to SBS it, you can. If you want to, you know, kind of change the configuration and make it a little bit more practical, you can totally do that. So I dig this. I think it's a great setup. And, you know, back in the day, Ray and I, when we were doing a lot of the S12 work, you know, if someone wanted an SBS Sega 12, now, boy, you're talking a considerable amount of work to get one short and get the gas system shortened up. I mean, they're not easy to do. So, sure, is the Komrad as short as you could get this configuration? No, it's not. We could move the gas system back. We could shorten this barrel up even more. We could bullnose the carrier. We could cut the piston off of the carrier and use the carrier as the piston. Absolutely, we could get this system considerably shorter. But I feel like this configuration, the dwell time's a little better, so you have longer dwell time, so it's a little more reliable than a straight up, super shorty SBS. That's one benefit. And two, you know, this is all made here in the US, which is nice. So if there's a problem warranty-wise or if you need parts, it's probably easier to get parts for this gun, even though the S12 parts are compatible. So just something to think about. Maybe some of you guys have been on the fence about doing an S12, or maybe you're looking at Veprs or whatever. I like the Vepr. There are some SBS ready Veprs you can get that are still floating around out there that are really cool. They're awesome. But I think that for what these guns cost, they do represent a great value for somebody wanting to get into a magazine-fed shotgun, especially something in an AK configuration. I mean, what's not to like about that? I know what you're gonna say, probably other than the paint job, nothing. And, you know, this clear mag, I kind of knew we'd have a few hiccups out of that. The SGM seemed to be working beautifully. So let's hope I don't eat my words. We're gonna run 10 more slugs. And I wanna try to shoot a few of those poppers with the slugs, and we might try patterning these slugs back there on the back target and just see kind of how they do. Because there's a 10.5-inch barrel cylinder bore with no constriction. I mean, you know, what could we really expect in terms of accuracy? We'll see. This gun I wanted to put together is just kind of a fun gun, but I tell you what, I'm so glad I did. Now stay tuned, we are gonna have a different paint job put on this. I just sprayed this with gold spray paint just to be a rogue and because reasons. But I digress. More slugs. Bernicke anti-terror. All right, let's have some fun. Shoot, look here. You know, dude, for a 10-inch barrel, cylinder bore, AK platform with just regular old, you know, well, these aren't just any slug. I mean, it's a pretty awesome slug. That accuracy ain't bad. Now, if you were talking, you could totally shoot a deer at this distance and provide a humane kill on a game animal or an engine block, okay? I mean, that's kind of what these things are touted as, like for penetrating through vehicles and vans and things like that. So, I mean, I know people like 50 Beowulf because you can shoot through engine blocks and shoot through vehicles and windows and stuff like that, but I don't know, man, for the money, I'm not sure I would discount something like this for being a tool that can be used in the same type of configuration. It's so epic. I love it. I wanted to share it with you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I hope you all have a wonderful week. And yes, we have many more gun videos on the way. No, we're not dead. No, Chad isn't dead. Chad's here.
Hi.
Chad's here. He's here. We've got a lot of cool projects going on that you're gonna wanna be a part of, and I can't wait to share more information with you, but understand that there are a lot of things going on that I can't really tell you about yet, but in time, I think you're gonna be very pleased you'll understand Chad's absence soon. And I promise you're gonna be happy about it. So thank you so much for watching. Many more videos on the way. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. And look, this paint job is a gag. We're gonna paint it something cooler than this, but we just wanted to troll y'all a little bit. Have a good one.